Welcome everyone to episode 9 of Pro Player Plays PGA Tour 2K21. I play professional golf for a living, but I also love designing in this game's course designer. And today we're going to continue working on hole number 7, which is the hole we've been working on in the last couple episodes. And we've really got this hole in a pretty good spot. As you can see on the right, we have some of those trees planted over there. And over here on the left, we've got some of this coastline planted. So this hole is really framed up nicely. But today I really want to go in and I want to focus on making the rest of this hole very visually interesting with some really nice coastal planting. And we're going to do that pretty much in a similar way that we did with hole 1. If we head on over here, we have a lot of these pockets of interest. As you stand on this tee, there's a lot of areas of this tall grass and this kind of beach look. And that's really what we're going to go for over here as well. And our goal is today to beat not having the sun with us, being going away from the sun. Makes it very difficult to make some of these holes pop. But I think we're going to be able to make this hole look really nice with some really solid planting. So that's our goal for today. We are going to finish up this hole and really tie up a lot of loose ends that we have and have it going from bare bones to being fully fleshed out and a really visually appealing, nice to play golf hole. So with that being said, I think the plan for today is really to go from the tee boxes forward. So first we are going to pop in and we are going to plant this kind of side area. I think this is the area I want to finish first so that we get kind of a general idea of how this is going to look without the sun in our face, because all we've planted so far is into our face. So let's go ahead and let's try and get this area to look good, and then we'll come back here and we'll worry about this tee box, because this tee box, it definitely needs to change. It's a little steep and it doesn't have any planting on it, but we're going to be able to make this look really good. I think with some solid grass planting and maybe even some rocks thrown in here, I think we're going to make this look very natural looking, or as natural as we can get for, you know, a big hill in the middle of these pretty flat sand dunes. I think we're going to be able to make this look a lot less artificial. But let's go in and let's get this episode started by planting this area right here, and really give it that coastal vibe that we've been going for with the rest of this course. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it. I hope you guys are excited as well. So without any further ado, let's pop in and let's start planting this thing. Now we've got a lot of this planting done right in here, and you can see how it starts to already make the hole look a lot more interesting, even though we haven't really finished this hole in any meaningful way. I really like doing this planting in here. I really like some of the color palettes that we've gone with as well. You can tell that there are just a bunch of different greens and kind of pale yellows in here, and they all complement each other really well, and I think it makes that really neat effect where it's not just monochromatic. You're looking at a whole bunch of different colors, and it makes it look interesting. So I'm really happy with how that planting has gone. You'll notice that I didn't actually finish all of this spot here, and that's because it doesn't really deal with this tee shot. I'm concerned with this tee shot and how this hole looks from here. This spot, this is more of the planting for hole number 6, which is this par 3 over the water. And I don't want to concern myself as much with this little area right here, you know, until we get to this hole, because I don't know exactly how far this green is going to come up here. I haven't fully fleshed out what I'm going to do, so I'm leaving this area blank for the time being. But I don't want to leave, however, this tee box looking the way that it is. It looks a little out of the blue. It looks a little bit, it looks a little too artificial for what I'm going for. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go in and I want to make this tee box just a little bit more natural. Some planting along this edge right here I think is really going to help the look of this hole, or the look of this tee box rather. And if we can make this look a lot more natural along this this kind of face, and definitely along this bunker here as well, I think this tee box won't stick out as much, and I think it'll actually make some sense. It'll look a lot more like it's supposed to be there instead of just this artificial landmass. So let's go in and let's plant this tee box. Now, as I've been planting this, I've been thinking that maybe some rocks could look really good along this side of the tee box here. So I'm going to kind of mess around here and let's see if we can come up with any interesting, I guess, looks back here with these rock formations. And I really like the idea of having this this reddish kind of rock along the side of it. We're going to see how this looks, and I'm going to mess around and I'm going to see if I can get a look that I like. And if I don't, when I bring you guys back in, I'll let you know what I didn't like about it. But I have a feeling that this is going to be the look that's going to make this tee box look a lot more natural, is having this big rocky face along this side of the cliff, and I think it'll really help. So let's do that right now. We've gone through and we placed some of these red rocks around this tee box. And I'm looking at it from here, and I know I said I wasn't going to work on this area, but I think it's really important that I kind of flesh out how I want this cliffside to work. And just dealing with this little back section right here, I think it looks awesome. I think it makes this tee box make a lot more sense which was kind of the goal of the whole thing. And I think if we continue this all the way around, I think this I think it's just going to look a lot more natural. And at the end of the day, I think that's what we're going for, is that natural look for this tee box while still clearly being elevated for the views of this hole, for golf course architecture purposes. This is raised up, but we want it to make it look seamless through here. And I'm pretty happy with how this little section turned out, so I'm going to continue that along this side of the hole, or this side of the tee box rather, and yeah, we're just going to keep going with that look. I think it looks great. I feel like we've made significant progress here in dealing with this tee box. I think it's starting to look a lot more natural. I know on the side here it's looking a little crazy, but we haven't filled in all the planting here, so I think it's going to look a lot more complete once we get all of the planting in down this tree line, because as of right now, I'm pretty happy with where this tee box looks. I know it looks a little more natural, which is really what we were going for. So with that being all done and out of the way, I think we're pretty good with this first part of the hole. And I said we were going to keep moving down the hole, so let's turn our attention to kind of this fairway area. And I really want to look on the sides of this right side here. All along here, I definitely want some planting to be in and on this fairway. Not in every spot, because I definitely want there to be an entrance from this cart path, which is the bunkers. And I want there to be clear entrances to the fairway, but I'm going to intersperse some planting along this side. And I think that will kind of complete this side of the hole. And then I'm also going to turn my attention over to here, and I definitely want some planting in the middle of this bunker. I want this bunker to be a real penalty if you hit it down into there. And that's kind of the idea with having some of those tall grasses and some of those bushes through here. It'll make it a lot tougher, excuse me, if this was a real golf course. And that's what we're going for. I think it's going to look good in there, and then definitely some planting in this area as well. And let's start to fill out this hole a little bit. Let's start to get this hole looking pretty close to complete. So let's get after it. like a lot of the work we've done so far here. You can see that we've got a lot of this planted kind of now up down through this hole, and it's starting to fill in pretty nicely. There's one thing that's kind of bothering me though, and it's this tee shot. Where I've planted over here, and you can see it in this spot, when you go back to the tee box, you're sitting here now, and you can't see that bunker over the planting that I've done. And I don't want that. So let's work on this little look here. And I think if we can get this to be a little bit more raised up, we might be able to see that bunker a little bit better. And just over the planting, I think that's going to be a huge thing for us to have this bunker very clearly defined. So let's raise this up and see if we can get it to kind of peek over the planting. And it'll be a lot more visually imposing for the players, and that's kind of what we're looking for, especially with that bunker. I think even just that little bit where you can see that bunker very clearly, I think that helps the look of this hole a lot. It really defines where you're going to be hitting the tee shot if you decide to go for this more aggressive line. And yeah, I think that looks a lot better. I think that improves the look off the tee. It also makes it look a little bit cleaner. I know it's a pretty sharp rise up there, but I'm generally okay with that much. If it was a little bit sharper than that, that'd probably be a bit too much, but as it is, I actually think it's pretty good. I think you definitely see that, especially with a little raised up fairway like this. I think you'd see a pretty sharp bunker edge, kind of like we've got over here. I think you'd see that on this side, so I'm happy with that. Now let's start turning our attention over here to this tree line, because I think right now I'm getting a tough time. I'm having a tough time visualizing this hole because it just looks very blank and bland over on this right side here. It's this planting, I think, has framed the hole well, but if we don't get this tree line done, a lot of this planting is just going to kind of look weird, and I always have a tough time visualizing it until it's all done. I wish I was better at it, but I know there's a lot of people that just have a clear outline in their mind of how everything's going to work, and they just trust that it's going to get done, but I'm one of those people that needs to see it done before I'm happy or unsatisfied either way. And so I think before I do any more planting on this hole, because there are a couple more areas, I kind of want to touch up this area here. It's a little sparse, and then obviously finish up this area and work on the transition from these holes up to these inland holes that are going to be up through here. And the thing is I don't want to finish them until I know that I've got this look down the sides looking the way that I want to. So with that being said, let's go in and let's try and get this tree line to look a little bit better and define this hole the way that we want it. we've got a lot of this planting in now, and as I'm looking at it, you know, like there's obviously going to be this hole over here. Hole 3 is going to kind of be behind these trees, and so you're not going to have as blank of a look. If it was more of the edge of the golf course, I'd try and fill in that, just so you can't see through the trees. And, you know, I mean, obviously it's seeing out into nothingness right now, but it will look into something more in the future. But in terms of framing the hole, I think this has done a really good job of making this hole feel, you know, kind of enclosed. Feel like it's kind of more complete now that we have all of those trees and we have all of the undergrowth underneath it. That was kind of the main thing we were looking for there, is to really fill out the look. And I think we've done a really good job of that. And I think this hole is, it really helped me visualize the rest of the hole. And it's taken us a lot closer to that completed product that we were hoping for. And I think now we just have some little touch-ups in here, and maybe some touch-ups on this backside as well. And there's probably going to be a few more things that I'll want to plant along here. But as of right now, we're getting really close to done with this hole, and I'm super excited. I know that this hole is kind of a struggle as well, because as we talked about earlier, the sun is at our back. It doesn't, in this game, when you're away from the sun, it is difficult to get a good look. So to be able to have all this planting kind of come together and make this hole look pretty nice, I'm very happy with it down away from the sun, because I think it's going to show that the rest of the golf course is going to look good regardless of if the sun's at our back or if we're into the sun like we are on hole 1. Because obviously hole 1, everything kind of pops when you've got this, when you've got that change in direction with the sun. And, you know, it's easy to make a hole look really nice going this way, but it's a lot more difficult to make that hole look nice when you don't have the sun giving you that extra little bit of pop in all of your planting. So, that being said, I'm pretty happy with where we're going. Let's try and finish this up. Let's get it all planted up through here. Let's get a couple touch-ups in that region. And then, you know, we've got a couple spots along this side of the bunker. I'm probably going to throw in a couple more of these little dots of planting that I've got, just to kind of complete that side of the bunker as well. And then we're going to be pretty close to done. I'm excited. Let's get into it. The thing I want to do here, before we keep going with some of this planting, is I want to get this bunker, I want to get it all the way up to where these tee boxes are eventually going to be. I'm probably going to stop it right in this area, and we can kind of make it look a little better once we start dealing with these tee boxes. But let's try and make this bunker look good, because you know, as we're going through here, this is going to be our main pathway up to these tee boxes, and we want it to kind of cut through the trees, but we also want to make sure that it looks good, because it really is a part of hole number 2 and hole number 7. It's going to be that pathway that heads up there. So if we can get that to look like it's completed, I think it's going to help these holes look completed once we get kind of to the finishing line with planting all this area. So I mean, I think this looks pretty good right here. I'm probably going to finish up this tree line. I kind of didn't finish it the last time I was through here, so I'll finish this tree line and it'll make that look a little bit more enclosed. And I think this tree line looks pretty good over here. We'll finish this off just a little bit. And when those two are done, it's going to look like a really natural kind of progression back up inland away from the coastline. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process with finishing off this bunker as well. So let's get back to planting. As I finish up planting around this green, I'm pretty happy with where everything's at in terms of the planting as we have it. But the thing I'm considering adding is some of these oak trees down this left side. And it's pretty tempting because I think they look really good, and they serve as a bit of a buffer from just the open kind of ocean. And we don't have any down the side of hole number 1 here besides the little palm trees that are kind of on that coastline. And I'm almost wondering if one of these, either on this left side, which would be kind of a buffer from the ocean, which I'm not sure that I want, because I definitely want the ocean to be kind of a visual hazard, and not a visual hazard, but more of a I guess vantage point. You want to be looking out that way, out across the sea, and I think that would be a cool look. So the other spot I'm considering is just placing it right here, and it kind of breaks up holes number 2 and hole number 7 here, but that definitely does add a bit more shadow here to this hole. But it keeps the tee box is okay, you know, and it's not fully blocking everything. This would be a big tree, you know, like, or this would be a very big focal point to have a tree right here kind of by itself. So I think it is a pretty big decision to either have this tree there or not. And you know, right now I'm leaning towards it. I think it looks really cool. I know it kind of breaks the sight line that you have from hole 7 over here to hole 2, but I don't think it's unrealistic, and I think you can still see enough of each hole that it would be pretty cool to I think it adds a lot to the sight line here, because if you look from this tree here down to this, if you were to draw an imaginary line there, and you're standing in this fairway here, everything is kind of pointing you towards the screen. It really starts to frame in the hole, I think. I think it draws your attention more to this green, whereas when that tree was gone, you weren't sure where you wanted to focus, because there was some green over here, there wasn't much height over here, but with that on the right side, I think it kind of draws the attention in towards this green, and I think it makes the green the most important visual place on the hole, which is what we're really going for at the end of the day. But I am also open to hearing what you guys have to think, because I want to know, do you think this tree is going to be blocking too much of the view? Do you think it adds too much shadow over here to hole 2? I'm not sure. I am on the fence about it, as you can tell, because I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it. But for right now, I'm going to leave it there, and I might throw just a little planting down next to it, just to kind of give it, that completion as we're kind of coming to the end of this hole here. Just kind of attach it to this, and then add in a couple of these other little bushes to make it really feel complete. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this tree here. It would be a very visually imposing addition to this hole, but not one that I'm against adding. I think it could be actually a pretty big benefit to have it right there, and it kind of makes the cart path a little bit more interesting as well. You drive it through here under the tree, and then you'd go this way and you'd go up to your tee box, whether it was 3 or hole 8 coming from hole 7. And I'm gonna leave it for now. I think that looks pretty good. It looks good off the tee too. Yeah, everything kind of points down that direction. You have you have this tree here pointing down to this tree, pointing down to this tree, and everything's kind of forcing your eye to focus on this green here. So I'm gonna leave it for now. Let me know what you guys think, though. Yeah, we have a lot of this work done now. I didn't quite finish up this tree line, but let's go through. Yeah, that was the other thing, is I was going to plant kind of this right side. I was going to put a couple of a little bit more planting here. So let's finish up this whole entire planting episode in style. And let's get this hole right where we want it, right to completion, and we'll be able to call it a day after this. Let's do it. Well, everyone, after a very planting intensive episode, we've got hole 7 looking exactly how we wanted here. For the most part, there's still a couple things to clean up, I'm sure, but as I'm seeing it now during this episode, I think we can call this one good. So let's jump in and let's play this hole, and let's kind of see, you know, how it's playing, how it's looking off the tee. And I really like, I know it's down away from the sun, but I think as of right now, it's in a good spot, and I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. Yeah, this hole is starting to look really nice. Let's get this drive out to the right here. Well, that is not going to play. This will be a good test to see kind of where this hole's at. Okay, found the fairway, which is good. And I like that the planting hasn't covered up that greenside bunker, because that was a big thing for me. We didn't get the green done. I am now just realizing that's a bit of an oversight. I've left it just completely flat. Well, we can go in and fix that really quickly. Let's finish up the hole. Let's make sure everything looks kind of the way we're hoping it does. And I like the way it looked off the tee. I like that approach shot in. I really like the infinity green, the feel that we have, where the green just kind of drops off, and really all you can see is the ocean behind it. When you're standing there on the fairway on hole 7, all you're really looking at is that greenside bunker right there, and then the green, and then you barely can see some of this planting, and then it's just ocean. So it's a really difficult thing to be able to tell how deep something is when you can't see the back of it. And I really like that about this hole. I think that's one of the tricky things about it, for it being only, I mean, what does it even say on the scorecard here? Let's look, 374 yards. But I mean, you can get it up into this area no problem. You've got a little flip wedge in your hand. It's measuring to this point and then going over, so it really can play even shorter than that. So for a short hole, I like the difficulty that we've got here. But let's think about this green a little bit. I knew there was something I was forgetting. I'm glad I noticed it. I'm glad we went and played through it for the ending here. I want this green to kind of slope a little bit away from the player as well, because I really want to emphasize how important it is to leave yourself an angle here from this left side of the fairway and make this little right side of the fairway a bit tougher of a shot, because you're going to be landing it away versus you're just going to be landing it on a side hill from here. So with that in mind, I'm not going to do crazy, because it's such a small green. There's not much room to do anything crazy with this green, but I think a gradual slope kind of away from the player and away and to the back of the green, I think is going to be kind of the ticket with this hole. I lowered it 7 inches here. We've got everything just going that way, but I do want to make sure that this part of the green here is a little bit raised up so it does go from back to front. So let's go like that. Let's see how this green looks. It does not slow. Let's flatten this back section as well, because I don't really want a false front on the back here. I think that's a little bit hokey. We definitely want to have that not run off when it's on the back of the green. So let's raise this up even a little bit more. Let's raise this up about 6 more inches and get kind of this back section going towards the front of the green. And that looks okay to me. I know that this side of the green it almost slopes away at the front part of it. And that's fine. That's kind of what we're looking for here. Let's keep fiddling around. Let's just raise this whole thing up a little bit more. And let's do it one more time. Let's do it a full 1.5 feet, and let's really get some slope here. That's kind of the slope we're looking for back there. Just a pretty gradual one, but it's definitely moving from right to left, so that if you've got an angle from the left here, you've got your best possible chance of not landing on a downslope. But if you're over here, you've got a really awkward pitch shot because it's all sloping away from you. And I think that's the way we want this hole to play. Let's see how it looks from this side. You can see just that ever so slight coming forward, which I think is good. And then you get to this front section. There's a couple of beads going the wrong way. So let's lower this down just ever so slightly, 3 inches or so. This should be enough to get everything going the correct direction. Let's do that one more time. Trying to be very precise as I do this. There we go. Now we've got that gentle slope going all the way to the front. And I think that is pretty good. We don't want this green to get crazy out of control. With it being so small, it just doesn't give us the opportunity to, throw tiers in, throw crazy stuff. We just want general slopes to be pretty apparent on this green. It's deceptively tricky enough from here, and I think tricking out this green would detract from the hole more than what we're looking for. So let's put a few pins in. I think pin 1, I'll have it in this little back left section here. And then let's add a couple pin positions. Add pin 2. We'll throw this we'll throw this over on this left side. And we'll go through and make sure all these pins are legal afterwards. Pin 3, I think we can have this up in the front section. I think this would be probably one of the tougher pins on the hole, actually, because you've probably got a wedge in your hand, and you've got this little false front there that if you come up even a little bit short, you've got this awkward pitch from down here, or chip shot rather, to land it on this front section and keep it near the hole. So I think that front pin is a really good one. And then I think pin 4, we can kind of toss this one over here in the back right. And let's make sure that all these pins rather are in a good spot. They're not too close to the edge. And that is a pretty good one there. All outside of 3 yards. That's kind of what we're looking for. We don't want any to be inside of 3, because that would be just a little too close. You'd never see that on the PGA Tour. Having a bunch of pins that are inside of 3. This could be a little close. Yeah, see, that one's too close. 2.75 is a bit too close for my liking. So let's sneak that one on over. That should be more than 3. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And And let's make sure that this first one is good. And it's looking good to me. Okay. That is good. I'm glad we noticed that before we ended today's episode, because that would have left the episode on a sour note, just having a flat pancake green and calling it complete. You know what I mean? So we've got that. The other thing I wanted to check is over here. What were we using? We did not have first cut around the green, and I think that's okay. That's what we have over here, and we're gonna stick with that for now. We might change that later, because this looks a little bit awkward. It looks like this could use some first cut around it, but I'm not gonna mess with it at the moment because I kind of want to call this episode complete. We've done a lot of work today. We've planted essentially the entire golf hole. We got this tee box built up and looking a lot more natural. It's not totally natural, but it's that way by design. We want it to look a little unnatural while still fitting into the surroundings, and I think that rock formation really makes it look like it's a little bit of a cliff, if that makes sense, and I think that helps a bunch. We've got a lot of this planting here along the beach, and we've got a lot of planting along the hole, especially this right side. We framed up the green well, so I'm happy with the progress we've made today. Yeah, I'm happy with where we're going here. So leave a comment. What do you guys think's good about this hole, and really about the course? Because we're 3 holes in now. We're getting a good feel for how this course is going to play and kind of the theme that we're going for here. So let me know what you think, and let me know if you have any ideas or suggestions of things I should do. But that's going to do it for me today, everyone. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next episode. Have a good day, everyone.